Welcome to The Hypnotist, the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. Brought to you by the hypnotherapist demanded by celebrities, CEOs, and even royalty, Adam Cox. These recordings took place live from Adam's clinic in London's world-famous Harley Street. This podcast features powerful hypnosis, so do not listen while driving or operating machinery. This recording is not suitable for those with epilepsy or severe mental health issues. So, get yourself comfortable and enjoy today's episode of The Hypnotist.
Hi, it's Adam here, and in this episode of The Hypnotist, you'll be listening to a sleep hypnosis session that I did with a lady who wasn't having difficulty getting to sleep. Her issue was staying asleep, and she would quite often wake up 5 or 6 times throughout the night, and then would struggle to then get back to sleep. And then when she would get back to sleep, she'd then wake up, maybe an hour or so later. And it was really affecting the quality of her life because she couldn't have confidence in a good night's sleep. Working with her, what was evident is that there was a time in her past where she had surgery. She had high levels of a desire to control the situations that she was in. And obviously, having a general anesthetic required for surgery didn't really resonate with her fear of losing control. And to use her language, she was terrified in that moment. And she could recall having the thought of, what if I don't wake up? And what's highly likely is that at that point in time, a belief or part was formed that would then wake her up just to check that she could be awakened. And while that might seem like a good, strategy, it's not really, because then it affects the very quality of sleep that then contributes to good health. So in this hypnosis session, you're going to hear progressive relaxation to get her into a deep, relaxing state, a form of disassociation. There's an element of parts therapy for hypnotherapists, and let's say the NLP is listening, you might be able to relate to that. And also future pacing, so that she can then see the benefits of this change. And also a suggestion that even if she does wake up, she's got the ability to immediately go back to sleep again. There's a lot going on in this session. If you're listening to this, it's probably because you have similar kind of sleep issues. I think this session will help, but obviously it was created for someone that had a belief or part that was formed at a particular point in time, and that might not be so relevant. So if you are interested in exploring working with me directly to help with the quality of your sleep, there will be a link in the show notes that you can book a free 30-minute consultation call with me to explore working with me one-on-one. But for now, find a quiet place where you won't be disturbed, relax, and enjoy the session. Take a deep breath in. As you breathe in a resourceful feeling of relaxation. And as you exhale, just get a sense that tension, stress, anxiety is starting to leave your body in your outward breath. As you breathe in and breathe out, notice that with your eyes closed, you can give more of your attention to the sound of my voice. And as you breathe in and breathe out, give permission to your body to let go of that tension. It's not needed here. That's it. Notice that as you breathe in and breathe out, the longer that outward breath is, the more of that tension, stress, or anxiety is being released. And therefore, the longer you breathe out, more of a vacuum is created in your lungs. Your diaphragm is being activated. So the next breath in is deeper than it was before. And I want you to use the power of your imagination to imagine a color that represents resourceful relaxation going in through your nose, into your lungs, being distributed to every cell in your body, melting away feelings of tension and stress. And then on your outward breath, see a darker color leaving your body, representing the tension, the stress, the anxiety that is being released and exhaled in your outward breath, enabling you to go deeper and deeper, relaxed. Now, as your body relaxes, you're activating that part of your imagination that is the bridge between the conscious and the unconscious mind, a gateway, a portal. And that has to be true, because sometimes you have great ideas and you don't know where they come from. But isn't it some form of inner dialogue or image in your mind, a movie that you make, or a feeling in your gut? Intuition in many ways is your unconscious communicating with your conscious mind so you can do something about it. So let's harness the power of your intuition and your imagination as you start thinking about a beautiful Caribbean island. Imagine a villa by the beach. No one else around. Just you looking out from a balcony, seeing an amazing beach, hearing the gentle breaking of the waves. And I want you to get a sense that here you feel positive, relaxed, that you can let go. And do that, let go of that tension, that stress, that anxiety. And notice in the room that is connected to the balcony looks like the most comfortable bed that you've ever seen. In fact, I want you to test it. Imagine putting your hands to feel how soft or firm the mattress is. Feel the sensation of the fabric on your fingers, of the sheets, the linen. And then imagine placing yourself on top of the bed so your head is now on the pillow. I want you to get a sense that while you're there lying on the bed, your arms, your legs sink into the mattress, supporting you just the way that you like and enabling you to feel deeply relaxed. You can hear, perhaps, a breeze outside the window, maybe going through palm trees, still hearing the gentle breaking of the waves on the shore, and getting a sense that here in this place, you could drift off to an incredible sleep. But not just any kind of sleep. Rejuvenating sleep. Deep sleep, quality sleep, the kind of sleep that you could drift off to sleep uninterrupted for a long period of time, enabling your brain and your body to do what's necessary when people sleep. To wipe the slate clean. To process new things you've learned or understood. To let go of heavy emotions that you've been holding on to that day. And to enable states of readiness, alertness, and energy to be activated in the morning. I'm going to count down from 10 to 1, and I want you to imagine feeling deeper and deeper relaxed here on this bed, in a villa by the beach, there in the Caribbean, and I want you to get a sense that you feel so deeply relaxed. With each descending number, you will feel 10% deeper and deeper relaxed. So relaxed that you will imagine drifting off into not a real sleep, but an imaginary sleep. A sleep that activates your imagination so we can make changes with those parts of you that have good intentions that may be not working in the way that you would like. 10. Filling the muscles around your eyelids, eyebrows, and eyes. Just getting more and more relaxed, letting go of any tension. Feeling the tension melt away from those muscles around your eyes. That's it. 9. Now focusing on the muscles in your forehead. Muscles you don't normally use unless you're surprised or concerned, but here you don't need any tension in your forehead. As you breathe in that resourceful feeling of relaxation, notice that as you exhale, you can truly let go of any tension, not just in your forehead, but all the way to the top of your head, all the way down, across your scalp, releasing that tension. 8. Now focusing on the muscles around your cheeks and your jaw. That's it. I want you to imagine old machinery, rusted, almost bound together, and I want you to imagine that as you breathe in that resourceful feeling of relaxation, the representation that you have of your jaw is becoming modern, oiled, and see it working in the way that it should, and you can just notice that you can release any tension around not just your jaw and your cheeks, but all around your face, all the way up to your nostrils, enabling you to just truly relax. That's it. 7. Focusing now on the muscles in your neck and your shoulders. That's where most people keep stress. And it's useful if you're standing all day. But here, lying on a bed, in a villa by the beach, that tension isn't required. So you can really let go of that tension. Feel it melting away. And as it does, know that it feels good to release that tension. 6. As you focus on your arms, feel that feeling of relaxation spreading from your neck and your shoulders all the way down your arms to the tips of your fingers. The clue of tension is if something is rigid where it doesn't need to be, if something feels heavy where it doesn't need to, just get a sense that all of that is going away. So your arms feel limp and loose, and even your fingers. You can relax the muscles you don't even realize you have, to such an extent that if someone was nearby and to lift your arm, it would be just as limp and loose as the limb of a puppet without any strings. That's it. And then 5, focusing on your breath as you breathe in that resourceful feeling of relaxation. I want you to get a sense that even your internal organs are relaxing. Your lungs are relaxing, enabling you to effortlessly breathe in and breathe out. Your heart relaxes. I want you to get a sense that even your stomach and your gut starts to relax. That relaxation is now on the inside as well as the outside as it goes down further into your gut. 4, releasing any anxiety that's held there that doesn't need to be there. The clues to anxiety in the gut are feelings of tightness or a spinning or rotation sensation. But here on this bed, in this villa, next to that beach, in this part of the world, as you hear the breaking of the waves, anxiety isn't needed here. So give permission to your gut to release that tension. Now, that's it, enabling you to go deeper and deeper relaxed. The breath is longer than it normally is, more effortless than it normally is, enabling you to go deeper and deeper, relaxed. Now, 3, that relaxation sensation goes into your legs. Sometimes people hold on to tension in a particular muscle, maybe the calf, the thigh, maybe somewhere else, but it's not needed as you're lying on a bed. If you notice the tension, just allow yourself to let go of that tension. And in doing so too, the relaxation spreads into your feet, all the way down to your toes. And just wiggle your toes to know that they can relax even more than they currently are, as you're about to drift into an imaginary sleep that amplifies the power of your imagination. 1, feeling so deeply, deeply asleep. That's it. And while your physical body is asleep on that bed, in that villa next to that beach, your mind will go back in time to a point that perhaps an idea was formed that wasn't true and isn't useful. I want you to imagine that you're going back in time, but I want you to imagine you're going back in time just as some kind of tiny flying video camera robot that goes back in time, and I want you to witness a time where you were about to experience some kind of surgery. I want you to be there, seeing what happened as perhaps you were told about how the anesthetic was working, and notice perhaps the expression on your face as you got a sense that you were losing control of something you value a lot. Your own consciousness. The anesthetic was needed for the surgery, but there was a feeling, perhaps even a thought, that you can't wake up, or what if you couldn't wake up? And if you're observing that part of you that perhaps had that thought at that time, just let me know by nodding your head. I want you to get a sense that the difference that you now have is you know that you did wake up, and you know that you were safe. So therefore the anxiety linked to that thought of what if I don't wake up, although understandable, was unfounded and certainly not useful. And what if back then that thought led to a feeling of vigilance, a feeling of importance that you need to wake up, that you must wake up. And I want you to see what happened after the surgery, at the point where you did wake up. And when you see yourself waking up, perhaps drowsy after the anesthetic was starting to wear off, just let me know by nodding your head. I want you to change perspective so that you are now in the body of the version of you that has just woken up. And just in your mind, I want you to rewind things to the point where you were perhaps having that thought, perhaps a feeling of terror, a feeling of anxiety, but I want you to rewind it before that point, knowing that you did wake up, and the worry that you wouldn't wake up was unfounded. And notice that that feeling of terror becomes a feeling of acceptance. And I want you to think of a time in your life that you were at your most accepting, a feeling that whatever will be, will be. Activate that feeling of calm and relaxation there at the point in time. And I want you to relive the moments that led up to that surgery with a spirit of acceptance and complete faith that you will wake up, and notice that you feel better about the whole thing. Everything happens as it happened, except there is almost no anxiety. And therefore that thought that was created about a worry of waking up was never there, because the foundations on which it was built didn't exist. I want you to get a sense that as you experienced it the way that you would had you known for sure that you were going to wake up. A seed cannot be planted if the soil around it doesn't exist. Back then, terror was the fertile soil for an idea to be planted, and it grew in that environment. But as you re-experience it again, that soil doesn't exist, and therefore the seed has no place to gain roots. In which case, we can plant a new idea in the fertile soil of acceptance, that you have absolute faith that whenever you go to sleep, whether it's just a relaxing nap, whether it's just a nighttime sleep, or whether you have to experience any form of anesthetic, you will wake up acceptance plants the seed of absolute faith that when you sleep, you will wake up when your body feels that you've rejuvenated and experienced the level of quality sleep that your body really needs. Perhaps for a while now, your body's been trying to keep you safe by checking that you can wake up. But sleep is one of the most important ingredients to health. And therefore, paradoxically, this part of you that has been trying to keep you safe by waking up has actually tainted your health by not giving you the amount of quality sleep that you need. And I want you to bring forth that part that's been waking you up. And when I'm speaking to that part, just let me know by nodding your head. I'd like to thank you. You clearly care. You care so much about the idea that you couldn't wake up, that you're constantly checking that you can wake up. It's the equivalent of someone worrying that they don't have enough power, battery power in their phones. They keep checking how much percentage they have left, but each time they check, they use up more of the power, which paradoxically creates even less energy. I want you to get a sense that you have a positive intention to protect and to keep a feeling of safety. And if that's correct, just let me know by nodding your head. But I want you to access all of the consequences of constantly interrupted sleep. When sleep is not deep, quality sleep, that can affect energy levels. And a busy person with lots to do, if energy is low, will eat food they don't need because they think they need it. But actually, that wouldn't be necessary if the sleep was there to begin with. Sometimes when sleep is poor quality, it can change someone's mood. Someone could be more easily triggered. That could create arguments and confrontations that are completely unnecessary if the sleep was there. And once you start connecting to the consequences of that sleep, knowing that every single time that you've checked, you've been able to wake up, isn't it now time to come to the conclusion that there's a better way? And the better way is for you to now only implement this strategy of waking up if there is a level of intense, immediate danger. If a house is on fire, the way that you wake up, even in deep sleep, is highly useful. If there's a threat, then that's highly useful. But this requires diligence. A smoke alarm that is set to be too sensitive can go off even if someone's just cooking a meal. And that's not helpful. And if it's not sensitive enough, a house can be on fire and the alarm still won't be activated. And I'm wondering if you realize that your ability to assess what's going on outside of the body is the accurate trigger to wake up only when necessary. And if you feel that you have the sensory acuity, the awareness to be able to wake up only if absolutely necessary, just let me know by nodding your head. I want you to get a sense that this is an increase in responsibility. There's a principle in medicine called false positives. Someone's tested for something, but it's not true. And you've been checking that you can wake up. But by waking up, you're affecting the very health that you're trying to protect. So from this point forwards, you will help in a new way. You will help by creating an environment where you're protecting the quality of the sleep. And you will wake up only when the body has had all of the rejuvenating sleep that it needs, and only before if there is an imminent mortal threat. If you're happy with these new responsibilities, let me know by nodding your head. I want you to get a sense that for years you've been trying to create health, but in a way that wasn't working. And I'm wondering if you're willing to put right what's been wrong, to activate this responsibility based on atonement. You've been interrupting sleep for years, and now your responsibility is to protect the sleep. And to protect the sleep, those thoughts and distractions you will keep away, enabling the brain and the body to experience a quality of sleep that perhaps it's not experienced for a long time. And every day, when it comes to morning and you wake up, you can take great feelings of pride and accomplishment based on the quality of sleep that you've contributed to. You will be able to help in a way that you've never been able to help before. And I want to thank you in advance for how diligent you will be in this new responsibility, in the same way you've been diligent in the old responsibility. I now need to communicate to the part that doesn't wake up but is affected by this disrupted sleep. And when I'm communicated to that part, let me know. That's it. Nod your head when you're there. That's it. I want you to get a sense that you've had a sleep bodyguard trying to protect you for a long time. But instead of protecting you, it was interfering with the quality of your life. This sleep bodyguard will now protect your sleep, which means that you can go to sleep with a sense of confidence that you're going to get more quality sleep than ever before. But if you do wake up, I want you to get a sense that you will feel just as you feel when you're in a warm, cozy bed and you wake up too early. An intense, immediate desire to go deep, deep, deep back to sleep. The idea that just because you've woken up means you have to stay awake, perhaps check something, that doesn't apply anymore. You can awaken and then just decide it's not ready to wake up yet, and drift all the way back to an even deeper sleep. I want you to get back into that futuristic flying camera robot, to go back all the way forward. But this time, I want you to see not the present, but the future. I want you to be a little flying camera in the corner of the room as you see night after night, you getting more and more of that quality sleep. And notice that every single morning you do wake up, giving you confidence that you can wake up, meaning you don't need to wake up any time before. But notice something even more profound. The more quality sleep you get, the easier it is to take your life in the direction that you desire. Because you have more energy, you need to eat less food. Because you have more energy, you can be more active. Because you're feeling better in your own body, you get more done at work and in your life. The relationships you have with the people you love the most tend to improve, because the more sleep you get, the better it helps you in almost every area of your life. Observe yourself night after night sleeping well and waking up refreshed. seeing how well you are in your day-to-day life, before then again sleeping night after night, getting more and more quality sleep, but noticing how much confidence you have that when you go to sleep, you'll wake up the following morning, but not just waking up, but waking up refreshed, alert, rejuvenated, with a new lease of life. And then return to the present. The present as it is in your imagination, there, in that bed, in that villa by that beach, and imagine getting up, out from that bed, again feeling refreshed, feeling rejuvenated, feeling that this imaginary sleep has helped similar to how real sleep would help, increasing feelings of readiness and alertness as you drift over to the balcony, seeing the relaxing waves gently break on the shore. I want you to get a sense that you may listen to this again in the future when you're trying to sleep, and therefore I want you to imagine that if it's at that point in time where you're drifting off into a deep, deep sleep, there is no suggestion to awaken you, but simply to climb back into that comfortable bed there in that villa, to sleep so well without any danger of waking up early, knowing that you will wake up refreshed and alert the very next morning. But if you are listening to this at a point where you do want to wake up in the moment, I will simply count from 1 to 10, and if your mind wants to awake, it will. And if it chooses to drift off into a deep sleep, then it will do that instead. Starting to count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.